While cruising can offer all-inclusive options, there are still additional expenses such as shore excursions, drinks, specialty dining, gratuities, onboard activities, souvenirs, and more. Managing these costs and sticking to a budget can be especially difficult when you're cruising on a vacation, especially if this is your first cruise or you're not familiar with their pricing structure. Hi, my name is Sonia. Welcome back to Roses for Adventure. Today, I'm going to share with you my budgeting tips of how you can be better prepared for the expenses that you will incur on your next cruise vacation. These will help you from overspending, from possibly going into debt, and will help you stay on course so that you don't sink your next vacation. I'll also go through my helpful tips of how to save money on your cruise vacation. I'm going to save those for the end, so be sure to stick around. Without further ado, let's get into our budgeting tips and tricks to help you save money and be more prepared for your amazing vacation. So first thing people think when they book a cruise is that it's going to be a relatively inexpensive vacation because all of your food is provided for you. And while that may be true, there are a lot of hidden things that you need to consider when you're going to be going on your cruise vacation because the costs can add up really, really quickly. So first things first, when you are traveling to your cruise destination to get to the port, to get on board, you will have to figure out how you're going to get there. If you're going to drive, if you're going to fly. We fly the day before so that we do not miss the ship. We've had some friends and family that have unfortunately missed the ship because their flights got delayed or canceled and they couldn't make it to the port in time. They will leave without you. If you do book your flights through the cruise, it is their expense to get you to them, no matter where that may be. So for our family's instance, they had to fly them to Cozumel so that they could meet up with the ship. They ended up still having a great vacation, but something to consider, you might want to get to the port the day before. So then you have to think of travel expenses such as an airplane ticket, any rental car that you might need for overnight, hotel stays, gas, parking, all of those types of things. So definitely look into that depending on which port you're going into. Some places have shuttles, especially from hotels if the hotels are close to the port. So that might be an option. We typically like to rent an Airbnb or VRBO just so that we can cook our own meals. We're going to have a whole bunch of food for the whole next week of cruising, and then we will take an Uber typically to get to the cruise port. Also, if you are driving, if you live close enough that you're driving to the port, you will have to factor in things like parking at the port, which can add up really, really quickly. Now, once on board, you might want to grab that sail away drink, but be careful, they do come at a big price. So typically, mixed drinks are over $10 at least. So if you're someone who likes to enjoy quite a few cocktails, you might want to consider doing the beverage packages. So there are different options where you can do just a soda package, you can do a deluxe drink package, you can do one that is somewhere in between where it doesn't have the alcoholic beverages included, but things like specialty coffees and that kind of stuff is included if that's something that you're interested in. And you can typically get a much better deal if you book it online ahead of time. So obviously you can purchase all of these things once you get on board, but being prepared, if you look ahead of time and you find it is at a great sale price, maybe you check back in a couple days and it's even further on sale. So you can call the cruise line and they will refund you that more than likely. That's one way that we've saved money on some cruises. My husband will go in and check periodically just to see if the prices have changed, and if they have, we can call the cruise line and they will refund us the difference. There are also options for specialty dining on most cruise ships. So recently we sailed on Oasis and Harmony of the Seas on Royal Caribbean ships, and one of them we did the dining package, one we did not. There are plenty of complimentary dining options, so there is absolutely no need to get the specialty dining if it is something that you enjoy, that you know that you've cruised before and would like to try something different, try some of the more specialty restaurants where your food is not as mass-produced as it is in the main dining room. It's a great option. Again, looking at those prices ahead of time, it is much higher end cuisine and can offer quite a unique dining experience. There are plenty of complimentary dining options on board. board, including the main dining room, typically a buffet, a cafe or two, and a pizza place like there is on Harmony. So you by no means have to get the specialty dining package, but something to consider. And again, booking ahead of time instead of waiting until you get on board. Something to be aware of if you have not cruised for a while or are new to cruising is that the Wi-Fi is not included. A lot of ships do have a Wi-Fi within the ship for you to access their own app so that you can access messaging within the system and also the itinerary for the day, but you cannot do any sort of data roaming. There are no phone calls on that Wi-Fi package. It would be an additional purchase for you to be able to have full access to the internet. There are times that it will come complimentary with your room if you are staying in a suite, but otherwise you will have to purchase this separately. Now there are plenty of things to do on board that are completely free. The flow rider, zip lines, all of the shows typically are free. Some ships do have things that will be an additional charge though. So touring the ship, touring the galley, the kitchens, there is an escape room on some ships, and those are all additional charges. So if you feel like you want to do any of those types of excursions on the ship during a sea day, that's something to look into ahead of time so that you don't have some hidden fees at the end of your cruise. Similarly, excursions that you're doing out at port, you can look those up ahead of time. You can typically get a better deal than if you're booking them on the ship. Also, if you are planning on just going to a beach and it is a relatively safe area, more than likely you can just grab a taxi and it will be much cheaper for that taxi just to take you to the excursion or to a beach club and then pay at the beach club than it is to book through the cruise line. Now, again, as with booking flights through the cruise line, if you book your excursion through the cruise line, they are responsible to get you back on board if it is something that is going wrong with transportation with their excursion. If you decide to go off on your own, you need to be sure that you are back on board at the appropriate time so that you don't get left behind. There have been plenty of reports in the news lately of people being left behind. Please don't make that you. Make sure you get back to the ship on time. Something else to budget for are things like souvenirs. One souvenir that people might not consider if you're thinking that you're going to purchase things like t-shirts and hats and those types of things. On board the cruise ship, they will be taking photos of you throughout your entire cruise vacation, either at port or before dinners or those types of things. And you can purchase these photos. You can also buy a photo package if you choose to. My recommendation with this is if you choose to get a photo package, just get one for your entire group. So that way you can all benefit from it and maybe split the cost up between multiple people so that you don't all have to purchase the digital copies of these photos. If you're going off port and buying a souvenir at the excursions or at the ports, or there's plenty of souvenirs that you can purchase on board, but budgeting for those types of things. And my tip would be if you're going to be buying things at the ports and you know it's going to be maybe a $20 item or even more, to bring the cash with you and not use a credit or debit card just for security purposes. We always love to travel with cash instead of using our credit card or debit card. And similarly, having enough cash on hand for tips if you do decide to take a taxi or you have some sort of travel guide that is taking you around. Maybe say you took a catamaran, they will ask for tips, so it's always great to have cash for tips. And even on board when you are ordering beverages by the pool, we always love to make sure that we tip staff appropriately. Which brings me into tips and gratuities. This is something that is getting built into the price of the cruise. You can pay it at the end, or you can choose to pay it before. Many cruise lines automatically add the service and gratuity charges into the cost of the cruise. There are options to opt out of it if you would choose to just bring cash with you to tip your, say, room steward or dining staff or any of the service staff on board. It is highly recommended that you just go ahead and do that through the cruise line so that you are tipping the appropriate people the appropriate amount, but it is typically a charge of per person per day. Now, by no means this is not an end all. You can absolutely tip on top of that, which I would definitely recommend. Show this great staff that you really do appreciate all their hard work. Something else that people might not consider bringing money on board for are things like the casino or the arcade. If you are somebody who loves to go to the casino, maybe you think of this, but if you are just a casual traveler and don't typically go to the casino, there are casinos on board if you want to try your hand at some slots or the blackjack table or what have you. So be prepared if that's something that you're going to want to enjoy on your cruise vacation. A lot of cruise ships do have arcades as well for kids and adults alike, so planning ahead and budgeting for that if that's something that you're going to enjoy when you're on board. Alright, I have 3 more things and then I am going to share with you my biggest hack to save money. So, up next are things like spa services. If you're going to want to get a manicure or a pedicure or a massage or any of the other many treatments that they have on board, budgeting for that, they can get quite pricey on board. So it can be up in the hundreds of dollars. Plan ahead. Otherwise, you can be left with this gigantic bill at the end of your cruise. Once all of these things start adding up, you would be surprised how much you can actually charge on your room, and then at the end of the cruise you've basically spent the price of the cruise on all of these other add-ons. An additional expense is also travel insurance. If you choose to purchase travel insurance, you by no means have to. It is not a mandatory purchase, but it can provide coverage for unseen circumstances such as medical emergencies, trip cancellations, or other things like that. The cost of the travel insurance will depend on your age, the trip duration, and the coverage level of insurance that you would like to purchase. Now this one is kind of a little bit unforeseen, but any medical expenses that you might incur. They do have a doctor and nursing staff on board the cruise ship, but if there's anything that goes wrong and you need to go there, it is quite expensive. Or even if you need to purchase things like Tylenol or ibuprofen or something like that on board, it is a lot pricier for you to purchase it on board than it would be for you to just bring it along. Alright, you've made it to this point. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and like this video. It is the best way to support this channel and help grow my YouTube channel. Please show your support and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all of our awesome cruise, travel, and adventure videos. And last but not least, let me share with you my hack to save thousands of dollars on cruise vacations, and that is to continually check the price of your vacation. So if you book your vacation a year in advance, even if you've booked it while you were on a previous cruise, go online, keep checking the price every so often and see if the price of your cruise has changed. If it has, it is a simple phone call to your cruise line or your travel agent if you use a travel agent, and they typically can give you the best and newest offer. If the price of the cruise goes up, that does not affect you at all. You are locked in at that low price. But if you see something that is lower, either for any of your packages that you've purchased, your drink package, any specialty dining packages, even just your cruise vacation itself, if those prices have gone down, call your cruise line and get the discounted price. It will end up saving you loads and loads of money. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it will save you a lot of money and a lot of headache because of all of those unforeseen expenses that maybe you didn't consider before. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. I will do my best to answer, and if you have any other tips that you would like to add, please let us know down in the comments, as we would all love to just share with each other and help each other save money and have a great vacation. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on our next adventure.